Two. Welcome to the 92nd episode of Wayne's World and me, Kelly. And we have a super duper, really cool guest today. Rafael, I believe we met, it's been a couple of years, 2.5 years ago or so, at some event where you came and spoke. You came and spoke. Affinity Man is your company. It's your baby. You started it off. We want to hear the whole story. It's been a long time since I heard your story, but it's a big deal. It's one thing to be in property management. It's another thing to sit there and jump off the freaking bridge and say, "Hey, let's start my own company." So give us some background.
Sure. So I started initially. I graduated from electrical engineering. Just never practiced. I wanted to stay here in Miami. I was just
well. That's shocking.
Yeah. and when I got out of college, I started a real estate company. So what we did is I came from very humble beginnings, my business partner and I, and we got into land development. So what we did is we basically knocked on doors before Alapata was Alapata, convincing owners to basically sell. So we would wholesale these deals to developers. So with time, we did pretty well for about 3 to 4 years. And our goal was to pay ourselves nothing. We both still lived at home. And we said, okay, we're going to become developers. So we bought our first small piece of land, bought a second small piece of land. And then our biggest deal ever, we never really had to close on these deals. We just assigned them over to the developers. Our biggest deal, the developers just told us, listen, I haven't made you lose on any of these deals. I need you to close on this deal. This is the biggest deal. We're going to make a significant amount of money that was going to allow us to build our first 8-unit building. So we made the decision, decided to close. That was in the midst of 07, 08.
Whoa.
And, so we said, all right, if we're going to do this, we saw the development stuff slowing down a bit. I had some family members in property management. So I said, listen, if we're going to sell condos, it makes sense for us to do the management. That way what we build, we can make sure it's maintained properly. So we started the management company. We closed on that big deal. We had about 18 months of holding power. And unfortunately, the market tanked and went upside down. So we did everything we can to try to keep the opportunities that we had. But unfortunately, the market was the market. We lost everything. And we went full-fledged into Affinity. So 17 years later now, we have about 65 associations, 17,000 doors. Really now been focused on scaling the business, really growing it we want to get to about 40,000 units in the next 6 years. So it's been a heck of a journey. We've been enjoying the ride. Like any other business that you start, you have those glass ceilings and you stay there for a bit and then you figure out, okay, this is how I got to break through. And our industry, like many other industries, comes with its challenges, but we're enjoying the ride.
So there's a question I got for you on your journey, which I didn't know anything about this. I know you and I have chatted a little bit at CEOMCs when I first met you, but the thing that you said in the beginning is you knocked on doors. So I call my day job, which is at American Building Contractors now for 22 years, but my partner and I have developed a stainless steel siding clip to make the installation of siding easier.
Okay.
And so I know what it's like every day to knock on doors, to get to the point where you're obsessed about it. But I guess the question I have for you is it looking back on what you've built, has the journey provided you the most satisfaction? I mean, you can sit and you could look at your blue chip company, Affinity, that everybody knows, okay, and say, wow, look what we've done. Or was the real fun and the real journey part of it that you enjoyed the most, was it in the beginning when you had nothing to lose, which makes you a very dangerous man?
So yeah, it's a great question. I would say we're still enjoying the journey because every
doesn't
step
stop
of the way, every step of the way, you're learning something new.
Right.
I didn't go to business school, so
Me neither.
I've been learning things my own way. I'm heavily involved in entrepreneur, so I'm part of EO. I do everything that I can for self-development because I feel like we have a big responsibilities to the individuals and my team that's below me. So we have
You
to do
bet.
the best that we can. And I tell them, listen, there's times that I make bad decisions, and you have to be
Yep.
forgiving of that same way that you are. So all we can do every day is just try to be empathetic leader, because I'm a big believer in that. And telling them that we enjoy, enjoying that ride. So recently we've lived by 4 core values. And when you're on this journey and you're constantly wanting to do better, at least it's happened for me, where you forget to celebrate the wins. And this past year we just added that to our core values. We called it celebrate the win.
Right.
Many times, you get that win and you're already moving on to what's next. Because our purpose at Affinity is really to improve the lives of our families and those around us. Like, that's what our passion, I should say. That's what drives us, is seeing our team grow. That's what we've enjoyed the most of the industry itself, is seeing people grow. As we grow as entrepreneurs, our team grows within. We've had team members that started off as a janitor that are now a property manager. So that's what keeps us going. So I think, Wayne, the journey just never ends. It's just making sure
Yeah.
that we're celebrating as we get onto a different road, or we move along.
Yeah, I mean, guys and ladies like you all day long that came from nothing. They you take your hands down into the dirt and you rub it together and you throw it up into the universe and just say, let's go ahead and do this. I mean, I have a college degree. I was supposed to be in the DEA. Kelly worked for IBM. I mean, we're all kind of accidentally where we're at right now, and the universe brought us to where we're at. But the real heroes are the people that have nothing to lose. That, I'm going to do this. I'm living with my parents. I don't want to be here, but I know I'm not going to be here for long. But I'm going to do whatever it takes. I always say, is people like you that have nothing to lose are the most dangerous people, because there's no blueprint to beat you. I have no idea how to beat you, because you'll do anything and everything to continue to build your empire and to provide for your employees. So much respect to you, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Wayne.
Let me ask you this, because I was asked this yesterday by one of my team members, and she said, do you still knock on doors? And I said, it's my favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
I said, with our business, we have to be careful how we scale, because, we take on a project, it's a pretty big deal. Right now, we're operating on 15, 16 projects. we have bandwidth, but you only have so much bandwidth. And I know you have the same things that you have to deal with.
Yep.
But I looked at her and I got, the big smile on my face. I said, I love doing that, and I still do it. I said, even, much to the peril of some of, my partners going, dude, slow down, the leads coming in, but I love it. Do you ever go out there and knock on doors still?
So yeah, so most definitely. I mean, one of the parts that I'm still heavily involved in within the business is dealing with sales. So we've now started to grow a sales team, and they've been doing a phenomenal job. But there's still the essence of making a deal happen, and whenever they need me, I'm there, and that's what really creates that separation between some of the competition that we deal with. Because really, who we compete with the most are the big guys. So it's that we're always in a constant David and Goliath story. So there's pros and cons to it. The pro is that there's been so much acquisition that they've become huge,
Right.
and the associations are really looking for a bit more of that personal touch. Being able to have access without so many layers. We have the support structure that you'll get from the big guys, but the difference is that you can get a little bit more of that personal touch. So every client's different. Every client's needs are different. So the clients that work well with us are ones that are looking for partnerships. So simple answer is yes, I'm still involved. And many clients still have my direct cell phone number. So if any challenges are there, but ultimately, I have to respect the chain of command with my team. I want to make sure that, I'm there to support them and provide that structure and give the client that special touch when they need it. But my team is really who handles most of the stuff. But yeah.
Right. So let me get back to my question.
I still do like to deal with some of those sales calls.
Yeah. But do you ever go in? Knocking is totally different than coming in on an opportunity. Do you ever go and personally reach out for business anymore? Yeah, because
So
I get a rush
actually,
out of it.
fully transparent, no. Well, last year there was
Yeah.
2 deals that happened that way. I was driving around and the team had their thing, and I just said, you know what, let me see if I still got it. Send me an
Right.
I love it. I love it.
So yeah, I haven't done it this year, to be fully transparent, because it's just who I am. But I did do 2 last year.
And isn't
You
it a
know,
rush?
No, it's a rush. It's a rush. It is. But also, as you scale, you have to realize that your energies need to go somewhere. It's not about, I don't want to do that anymore. It's again, being a stronger leader, being a better person, doing a better job of letting your team, teaching your team to be able to do these things so that they grow as
Right.
individuals as well.
so on the sales end of it, do you have a like a philosophy, like a 30-second elevator speech or whatever, or when you talk to your team about methods of sales, because there are so many ways to sell. They
Mhm.
always say, nobody gets to be where they're at by mistake. All
Right.
right. And in Kelly and I and a lot of guests, we endlessly roundtable different methods of doing it. I like to think that I've developed my own, whatever, but give me your thoughts on it. Is it like what I call objection-based selling, which is called the Sandler method, where
Mhm.
you give your pitch and then you hear no's and then you're constantly trying to overcome the no's or whatever. Tell me what your
Sure.
philosophy is at Affinity when you're in front of a board.
Sure. Well, I can't give away all the secret sauce because I know some of my competitors are going to be on this. But either way, no. Again, I rely heavily on professionals. I feel like as if I have an understanding of sales, I have the personality for it. But our approach is really value and education. As you've probably seen, we do a lot of webinars.
Yes, you do.
We
Yep.
do a lot of educational videos. I'm every week we have something going on. So
Yep.
what we show is that we want to be able to bring value and then really understand, can we really fit those needs? We're definitely not looking to pick up every single association. There's so much business to go around.
Oh
We're
man.
not looking to be a big organization at all. It's nowhere in our vision.
Yep.
Our goal is really to stay more of that medium-sized organization, which in our industry is still crazy that we'll end up around 700-800 employees, but it's just the nature of our industry. I mean, my competitors have close to 2,500 employees. So we're still looking to stay really more of that medium-sized organization. So our approach is, let's make sure that number one, the psychograph, that their core values fit our core values with the team, or at least somewhat aligned, so that we can really put together a plan for the communities. Because of my engineering background, our goal is to set goals for these communities. Many times, you come in and they want all these things done that haven't been done for years. The reality is that they don't have the budget for it. So we try to we use EOS, Entrepreneur Operating System in our business. So we apply that to our associations. It's what we've been focused on the past year or two, of really showing them, look, let's set annual goals and then work our way backwards. What are the milestones? So we've noticed that with the clients that we're interviewing, they've seen the value in that. They've seen the value in us trying to get them to the goal that they have in mind, and us allowing them to reduce their time. So for us, it's more about the value that we bring to the table, and also those additional personal touch. There's a couple little things that we do. We still do handwritten notes, and there's little things
Nice.
that we do that separate us when it comes to the sales and also to the delivering of the services.
Yeah, you clearly do have a separation from, I'm fortunate enough to nationally work with, the biggest national companies all the
Mhm.
way up there to the smallest ones. I've seen it all. There's definitely a place for everybody in there. I think the thing that I've gotten from you in the few times that we've been around each other is you kind of have an energy about you, and I don't know what it is. It's definitely positivity and confidence, the way you dress. We had Karel Costa Armas on here a couple episodes ago, um, and he had talked about the importance of just showing up in a professional manner, right?
100%.
And with how you represent your company staff and the folks that I've met out, trade shows or whatever, out in the field, certainly I think that it's set from the top. I don't think there's any way around that. And you and your leadership team have done a fantastic job of representing your company, and everybody knows it. I just moved here a year and a half ago from Minnesota, and like right away, I think, when I met you, I could just tell that you're just a little bit of a different guy.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Wayne. Appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Last week I'm talking to a property that maybe engaging in our services. And they said, "Oh, we just went from privately managed to a management company." And I said, "Oh, who'd you go with?" They go, "Oh, we went with Affinity." And I go, "Oh, this sounds like such a setup." I said, "We've had this on the books for a while with Rafael." I said,
Wow,
"This is
wow,
a setup."
wow.
But I also thought it was, just it was an exciting to have them, there's certain companies I get a nice little charge out of it when they say who it is.
Excellent.
And it's in Palm Beach County. So I know you all do a lot of business in Miami-Dade, you do a lot of
Yep.
business in Broward. It sounds like your footprint's getting strong up in Palm Beach County as well.
Yes, yes. Our goal is again, we're not looking to take over the state. We've been moving into Palm Beach now for I would say about 2 years. We have an excellent business development executive, Lauren, that's helping us grow that market. That's really her franchise to own and help us grow. We're also trying to move over now into the Naples market. We've been able to get one on site. Our goal is really just to focus on site work, so where it has an on site manager and a team, minimum of 3 team members. We used to do a lot of portfolio work in the past, but now we've noticed that what's working, the model that works for us is really sticking to the on-site. But eventually, over the next 4 years, our goal is to move as far north as possibly Orlando, and then just really hone in on these markets that are just south of Orlando.
Rafael,
Now,
who's
going
going to be
over to Naples,
picking up? Well, go ahead, Kelly. Sorry.
this is a very important question. So have you been over to Naples in the last 6 months
Yeah, so I
personally?
haven't been. I was just in Naples probably about 7 months ago.
Because they now have a little casino at the gas station. I
Interesting.
donated $100 just because I felt like obligated. But I did that is like it is like they've got an incredible convenience store. They got the cleanest bathrooms in South Florida, and it's funny because we can get to Naples sometimes quicker than we can get to
Oh,
Miami
oh, 100%.
or it's with traffic.
That's correct.
So
That's
sometimes
correct.
Naples is easier to get to.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
and
That's correct. I mean, from Broward, it's just a straight shot, so it's not bad at
right.
all. Yep, yep.
It's sorry. So Wayne, please, I know you had something probably not as important as asking about a casino,
Yeah,
but
right. Exactly. Um, Rafael, where are you getting your managers? I know that our industry is one of the reasons why I love it so much and I've been in it for 22 years is every day is different. It seems like the trend still seems to be kind of going in the wrong direction, I guess, that we all want regarding all the laws that everybody is facing, from contractors to management companies to everybody. I think the biggest thing that I'm concerned the most about is finding good people in our
Mhm.
industry and getting them to stay.
Yes, yes.
Tell me
So
your thoughts on that.
yeah, no, you're right on point, Wayne, and that's where I mentioned earlier about the psychograph of the clients we're working with, because I just had a recent video talk about the importance of having a good culture within a community association, and especially nowadays, and I think it's just going to get worse, specifically for our industry, because you're
Yep.
seeing much more self-managed properties go into professionally managed, which is great because now they'll get the support that's necessary. So what that means is that you're going to see a lot of changes in managers as well. So our industry is constantly growing. I don't see the development slowing down. Yeah, we'll have a market downturn, but our industry will continue to grow. It's inevitable, just like your businesses are going to continue to grow, whether the market turns down or not. We're needed. We're needed in our space. So finding the talent, what we've done is it's really grooming from within, of grabbing, seeing someone that has the potential and then investing in them so that they can grow within the organization. Do we hire from outside? Yes, of course. There are certain situations and certain properties that we have to. And what we have found is that, because some organizations are so large and it's okay. Sometimes there's a couple people that get lost and we look for those that are excellent, individuals that have gotten lost or have missed an opportunity for whatever it may be, bring them in and just making sure that we have a strong culture. But ultimately, our success as a management company is only as good as the success of the culture within the community. Because we can be great at culture, there's still that distance, that separation between the on-site manager and our corporate team, or our team at the back. So we can do everything we can to have a strong culture, but if the association or the board is not working with and having something similar within their community where we can disagree to disagree, but let's just let it be that. Let's not make it a rumor. Let's not make it a big issue. If that doesn't succeed, you're going to find it doesn't matter how great or what management company you select, you're constantly going to be having that churn. And what associations miss out on so much is that what they miss out many times is not thinking of, looking at Harvard Business Reviews that talk about every time there's a change, the impacts that has, the cost that it has. So we're finding now in the industry, because it's a small industry, we get along. Even though we compete, we get along. You already know, okay, these are blacklisted associations. Be careful with that account, because that account burns through managers for whatever reason. We'll still have a discussion with them, because sometimes it's just a lack of creating culture within that community. But ultimately, if the culture is not strong within the community, and it's never perfect because you're always going to have that handful of residents that create issues. But if the board is not there to support the managing company, support the objectives for that year, the goals for that year, then I don't care who you hire. You're going to constantly be churning out the talent. You could pay someone $200,000 a year to be your association manager, and they'll still leave the property because it's just not a good environment for them. And in today's world where people have the opportunity to jump easily, if you look at statistics, people don't really jump for money. Yes, there is a percentage that do, but people want is feel appreciated, feel that there's objectives being met. So long answer to your question, Wayne, but it's really delicate, especially in this space. I think it's all businesses, but right now, if there's ever an investment in culture, it's needed now in all industries, I think.
Well, you're not the only one that's going away a little bit from the portfolio style. Okay. Yeah. There's many companies that are doing that. So there's, nature abhors a vacuum. So someone's going to come in and do that. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on, do you have any statistics on the, what I'm going to call the burnout rate from on-site versus portfolio?
Yep. I can speak from our experience. On average, because we were a big portfolio company about 4 to 5 years ago, that was predominantly the work that we did. I would say if you had them last you more than 2 years, 3 years, that was a lot.
Wow.
So on an on-site, you're probably looking at 4 to 7, depending on the property, depending, on the salary as well, because some buildings can't pay, top-notch salaries. So they have to understand that, okay, my manager is going to be here 2 to 3 years. And, many boards get upset, but when you're open and honest with them, you have to explain, listen, when you were in your career, if they're retired, when you were in your career, did you want to stay at the same rate in the same exact position for the full 20 years? No. You wanted to move
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Right.
So what we need to do as an organization is just make sure that we have the documentation, the work orders, so that we can have a smooth transition between one manager and another manager. And I tell boards, listen, don't fall for this dream that everyone tells you the manager's going to be here forever. The reality is that they want career growth. Yes, you may catch someone that's in their golden years and they'll stay there for 10 years and they're okay with that. But the majority of CAMs, they want to be promoted. They want to make some money. They want to do well they want to do better for their families and so forth. So we need to support that. Both sides need to, the managing company as well as the association.
And change is healthy.
Yes.
You don't want things to get stale. People need to move around.
Correct. Great point.
I think it's a win-win. As much as we love when we have a great manager somewhere, things are going smooth. We have to look at it long term.
Interesting. Yeah.
And our projects, they last for 4 years, and we don't like to move people on our projects too much. We need that continuity, but that's about the lifespan. So in our business, we're kind of fortunate that way.
Yep.
But you see property managers and the board that are together too long, and it can affect the community in an adverse way as well. So.
Yep. That's
so. What you said, the golden years of a community association manager. What age, young man, are you referring to as? Because I'm thinking like 90. What are you thinking?
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, you have managers that are 65, 70 years old that are still managing associations, and
So you're saying that's an old person, somebody in their 60s. Is that what you're saying?
No, I didn't say 60s.
He didn't give an age, dude. Yeah, don't put words in his mouth.
I'm 45 years old, buddy. What he said. Don't let the ball.
Now that I'm in my 60s, I'm a little sensitive because I feel like I'm 25 or 30. But no, I'm just teasing. But it's I love seeing perspective of you young people. So, we get a lot of 20-somethings that watch this show, and they're going 2007, 2008. I guess I'm gonna have to ask my parents what the heck they were talking about.
Oh my
We
God.
all lived it, and that was a painful one. I mean,
Yep, that was
very
a
painful.
Very, very.
And
I mean, we saw associations with 50, 60, 70% delinquency rates. So having to increase fees by 120, 140%. So it's a tough time, man. And we're going to go through another tough one, not fear mongering here, but just the reality, with everything that's going on with the condos.
It's unavoidable.
We're going to go through a tough next 2 to 3 years. But like I've said in the past, I tell the boards that are going through right now, I go, look, the reality is that you're going to be in a good position. We just need to get through the next 2 to 3 years. Now you're going to be in a position where, hey, I don't have a problem calling a project manager to manage my project because I have the funds and the reserves to do it. I don't have a problem painting or changing the roof when it needs to be changed because we have the money to do it. So we're just going to have to get through the next 2 to 3 years. Hopefully there aren't too many condo terminations, but it's inevitable. You have people with fixed incomes. There's not much they can do. So it's a tough situation, tough part of the industry right now. But I think ultimately in 3 to 5 years from now, we're going to be in a much better place.
Well, there's so much going on right now. I had a property call me up late last week, and they've already done their envelope. They've done their roof. Continuing with the same company, doing the garage. The garage just went from $4 to $8 million.
Wow. Wow.
So they thought they were doing really good without having an owner's rep project manager.
Yeah. Not a great choice.
So it's like, it would have been nice if you had called me a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Because I told him, I said that might have been an $8 million garage project from the get-go. I don't know.
Correct.
It might be a $4 million, and you just don't know. And when they lean too much up on the wrong people or nobody, now people have to be more resilient now than ever on protecting their money and protecting their building. But, all the insurance companies are making people do the roofs now. So there's a lot of roof projects going on, and for good reason, because they have to be done. They're not doing it because they're in cahoots with the roofing company. They're trying to protect the buildings. And all this work has to happen. And, in your role and Wayne's role and my role, we've got to be the bearer of bad news.
Correct.
But people just got to, put their adult pants on and say, we got to get through this. But I agree with you 100%. We have to look at the long game, and say, hey, 3-4 years from now, South Florida is going to be in a much better position. And it was unfortunate what created all this. And Miami-Dade was already really strong on this, and Broward was decent, but the notches went up big time because people don't want to have that exposure. But I'm grateful, not because of the business side, but because I know people are going to be safer in their properties.
I agree. And it's going to give people really the true cost of what it is to live within a condo association. Many, not all buildings, right? But the older buildings, and I get it. Look, it's not easy being a board member and telling someone this is what the cost is, but I live in a home. I don't live in an association, but I'm constantly spending money on things I need to do. Okay, I need to repair this. I need to repair that. And sometimes I think, man, would it have been easier in association? But, but ultimately, people, there's a cost associated to maintaining anything, and there's difference with an association.
I want to throw out 2 points. First of all, I had a property manager yesterday who has an engineering background, very smart. And I said, oh, how old's the community you have now? She's got a high rise down on the beach down in Miami-Dade. And she says, oh, it's 12 years old. I said, oh, have they painted it yet? I'm not a painter. I'm just worried about protecting the building because I don't want you to call me later saying we have to do a major project because we're not protecting it. She goes, oh, we're going to do it in 3 more years.
Yeah.
I said, listen, you have there's a reason why it's 7 years in South Florida.
Correct.
It's not 7 to 10. Whenever I hear someone say 7 to 10, I hear engineering groups say that. It's like, stop it.
Correct.
You're just going to make us more business.
That's correct.
So listen to me. 7 years, 14 years, 21 years. That's when you do it. You every time you add some time to it, you're doing you're not saving any money. It's costing you money. That one just drives me crazy.
That's correct. The paint, people don't understand how important the paint is. You know, we tell the associations all the time, we get pushback. Listen, it's been 6-7 years since you painted. Let's get someone out here to spec this out, project manager. Let's get someone put this. Oh, but why? We don't need to do it right now. Building looks great. And I go, do you understand? You know, once it peels that and once it gets through that envelope, now you're talking about real money. So
right. Be proactive. You know, make my business slower. I'm okay with that. You know, do the right thing. I'm not in cahoots with any painters. And well, we had one building a few years ago. We did not represent them at the end of the day down in Miami. Big, beautiful building. Very difficult, 0 lot line. You know, to swing this building was going to be quite the challenge, period. And one of the board members who found himself quite the expert, you know, those people, said, we don't want to use the highest grade paint. You know, we can save a lot of money by using a lower grade paint because we're doing, you know, a gazillion gallons of paint. I go, dude, I would paint gold on the side of the building if it was possible. Yeah, I mean, it's so much more expensive to do the work than to what you use the best protection you can when you're applying it. And you're going to be repainting the building by the time you finish doing it. It was silly. And, you know, what is it, the old saying, you can't fix stupid. And unfortunately, there are some people that are in leadership positions on boards because nobody else wants to, you know, be a board member. I see it change in the last couple of years. Maybe I'm softening, but it seems like people that have a better mindset are now taking charge of a lot of these properties as far as the board member side of it.
Yeah, and I think now with mandatory education that, well, the governor hasn't signed the bill, so I shouldn't say that yet, but I think he's going to sign the bill. I think that's going to be huge for our industry. It's going to require board members to get certified instead of just signing a simple affidavit saying that they've read the documents. They have to take a course. So I think that's going to be great because that'll give our perspective of why are we always concerned from what are the legal challenges? Why are we always saying that let's fix these things for safety, for everything else? They're going to get that side of it and get an understanding of what their true fiduciary is as a board member.
Right.
Unfortunately, it's only every 4 years, I believe, that they're going to need to do it. I wish it was every year, but it is what it is. We get at least something.
We can keep pushing.
There's so many changes, right? But I think that will help, Kelly, as mentioned. I think that's why you're starting to see board members getting a bit more serious of their role and their responsibilities.
Right. Even at the expos, they're stopping at the tables and asking better questions, not worrying about what stuff you're giving away.
Yeah.
You'll still always have those people. I don't give away anything. I give away Hershey Kisses and Lifesavers.
That's smart, man.
Because, you know, I want them to stop at my table and engage.
Yeah.
You know, not to get free stuff.
Not just swipe all your free stuff. Yeah.
As my mom used to say, there's no free lunch and there's no free movie. Once my parents went to a senior citizen because they were in their golden years.
Okay.
And my mom fell in the parking lot and broke her elbow. Oh, I felt so bad for her. Ooh. And they're going to a free movie. And she's like, we should have paid for a movie and I probably would have fallen. My dad loved a bargain.
Yeah.
Hence the last name Kuhn. So, but no, it's what things are you seeing in the horizon? You see anything else that's changing for the good, for the bad? What's your perspective?
No, I think there's a lot of good. I mean, you know, there's been good legislation. Some of it, you know, it's a little bit overburdensome. And I understand that, you know, Miami-Dade, we've had our challenges here. I'm just not a big believer that, you know, legislation fixes things. If it has no teeth, then what's the purpose of the law?
Right.
So I think more what works is education, you know, getting these board members to understand the importance of it. And listen, there are many board members, so I shouldn't generalize that really are on top of their game, I guess I should say.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, some webinars, we get close to 300 board members on them. So it goes to speak to their leadership, to their self-development in the role that they have. But yeah, I guess changes is really now what you're starting to see with regards to board certification. There's been many changes in both the condo and HOA that are coming. So HOAs, now you're starting to see legislation where it's going to change how the architectural committee could work. So there's so much going on. I could be probably spend an hour and a half on that side, but there's some I'm in agreement with, some I'm not, because again, I'm just not a big believer in creating laws to regulate really a small percentage of the individuals that are creating wrong or issues within our industry. I don't think that fixes much. What you are
Yeah.
starting to see is just much more transparency, which is great. That's being required now. Websites for almost all associations, I think they went down to 25 units or 75. Don't quote me on that. I don't remember the exact number, but we've always been big proponents of doing that anyway. But ultimately, sometimes this stuff gets, it's great talk for politicians to get in front of their constituents, and I get it. They're trying to do what's right for their constituents, but sometimes it's just getting pushed way too much or way too
Yeah,
far.
I definitely think that that's going to be a good place to end this. We try and I mean, us three could talk forever on this, but just to your point, I think the best thing I'd like to see with politicians wherever they reside is when you get elected, please promise not to do anything. Okay, we do have enough laws out there. Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead and enforce the ones that are there.
That's correct.
Okay, and let's let the business folks do what we need to do with minimal oversight. We already have enough. Okay, I think we would all really appreciate that. I think we all would agree on that, right?
Yeah, I would agree 100% on that.
Okay,
Right.
Rafael, thank you so much for coming on. I know that Kelly and I, boy, this is one episode that we've really been looking forward to talk to you. And again, as an industry leader, I appreciate you and everything that you do. Okay.
No problem. Thank you both for giving me the opportunity to be here. Thank you guys for pushing the industry as well, because podcasts like this allow us to grow, allow individuals in our industry to grow, and more importantly, our board members to get a better understanding of their responsibilities and their fiduciary. So thank you guys for what you do.
Awesome. Have a
appreciate
good day,
that.
everybody.
All right, have a good
All
one.
right.
Bye-bye.
Take it
Talk to
easy.
you soon, brother.